There was a very interesting study done a number of years ago into people who bet on horses. The background is that there's a little book available that has, I think, 72 data points on every horse running in every race, every day in the United States. What was found out was that the availability of this data didn't lead to any better predictions of horse racing. The marginal impact of a piece of data, it did improve decisions up to about 10 or 11 pieces of data, but the additional data didn't improve decision making. It didn't lead to more successful betting. On the other hand, it did lead to massive overconfidence.
Investing is an activity where outcomes are always the result of skill and luck. Stock prices describe a random walk, but the skill is in trying to identify points at which you can buy and sell. Our overconfidence, however, usually leads us to think that good outcomes are the result of skill and bad outcomes are the result of lack of skill. But in fact, in all cases, outcomes are the result of a combination of both.
In the investing world, we tend to value experience. If we go to the website of any investment organizations, we'll see how they describe the great experience of their investment team. But experience is really just pattern recognition. And it's important that you recognize those domains where pattern recognition is possible and those domains where pattern recognition is not possible. I would argue that in investing, patterns really do not persist. One of the interesting things about the investing world that has changed in my career is the availability of information. When I first started in investing, it was difficult to get information about companies in Europe. For example, you literally had to go and knock on their door and ask for an annual report. Everything has changed 50 years later. We are deluged with data, we're deluged with information about companies anywhere in the world. So the job of the analyst has really changed from collecting data, analyzing it and coming to conclusions, to really filtering out noise from signal.
One of the ways to overcome overconfidence is to have your views constantly challenged. And the popular way of doing so is setting up a red team and a blue team to think about decisions before they're made, or to set up a system that plays devil's advocate, where somebody's encouraged to always take the opposite view. At Harding Loevner, we have felt no need to set up formal structures historically to have people disagree because we have a culture of disagreement.
We rely on the individual's differences in view, differences in outlook, in their cognitive diversity, and encourage them constantly to challenge each other. We do have a very strong culture of collaboration without consensus. Maybe the best way to build safeguards against overconfidence is simply to look at results. So it's important when you're looking at outcomes to try to identify whether those outcomes were the result of good decision making or the result of random noise or luck. So post-mortems into not just the outcomes of a decision, but the reasons for those outcomes. We look at the outcome and see if the outcome was because our reasons were correct or for some other reason. So we also like to do pre-mortems, where we imagine the reasons why a decision could be wrong. So we actually say, let's not think about the reasons why this could go wrong, but we say, imagine that this has gone wrong. And reframing the pre-mortem in that way helps us overcome biases such as overconfidence.